right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Daytona 500 special of Power 10 Sports Talk. I'm your host, Andrew Gibb. Joining me this week, the always wonderful Erin. The man that just asked minutes ago if Dale Earnhardt was the Tom Brady of NASCAR, John Sacco. The
Well,
one
he is,
person on
isn't
our
he?
show that can't legally drive, Brady Gibb. And our special guest, he has been attached to racing for about 26 years, working with Ultra Motorsports, Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, Roush Fenway Racing. He's currently with Cowlig Racing. He's done just about any job you could with a racing team, Troy Phillips. Give our guest a little round of
Hey guys,
applause. And,
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
thanks for having me.
Yeah. And we had gotten some information from you or about you before the show. You grew up in Texas and did dirt track racing to get your love for NASCAR started.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I started going to the dirt track when I was about 6, and finally at 16 was able to put a car on the track. And it was a lot different back then than it is now. You got 12 and 13-year-old kids out there racing now, but back then you couldn't do it until you had a driver's license. So, yeah, we started doing that, and finally got to a point where I said, I'm tired of paying for race cars. I'm going to go get paid to work on race cars. So
turn your hobby into a lifestyle. I like it.
That's what we're doing now.
Do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life, right?
absolutely.
Yeah, and
I was just going to
yeah.
say, I'm extremely fortunate because, like you said, I get to do what I love to do. So
yeah, and getting to do everything that there is to do. Is it within the pit crew and then stuff that's outside the pit crew in the garage? Have you done both of those?
my main is garage work. I haven't done pit crew work in a long time, although last year at Road America, they did have us, we had to do our own pit stops. So that was kind of interesting. I did get to jump back over the wall and change tires last year. So it wasn't near as fast as they are today, but we had a time limit, so we were okay. But yeah, I did actually jump over the wall last year and change front tires on the number 10 Nutrient Ag Solutions car. So,
Oh, well.
That's very impressive. I
That's
can't
got to be
use a
intense.
normal tire, let alone a pit
I know.
tire.
Yeah.
So
I'm calling
impressed
AAA
already.
if I'm a pit crew.
Oh,
well, the good thing about it is it's you and 6 other guys, or 6 other folks. So, it's not you solo by yourself doing it. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and a couple little facts about Daytona for those of us that don't know as much, or if you're tuning into this show to learn about Daytona. Daytona is a 2.5 mile track. It's your typical oval, just left turns, and they go for 200 laps. Main sponsor of the new NASCAR.
Why do they call it the 500 then?
Because it's 500
It's
miles.
200.
I was just about to ask how many miles it is then.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
The main sponsor for NASCAR's Cup Series right now is Monster Energy. It's been various other companies, but currently it is. Oh, it isn't?
Right now it's Coca-Cola, Xfinity, what is it? Coca-Cola, Xfinity. I don't even remember all of them. It's four deals. For the last 2 years, it was, but now it's not. It's 4 different, and it makes up the Cup Series now.
I was lied to. My source, Steve Gibb, I'm going to call him out, told me it was Monster Energy.
For the last 2 years, it was.
All right, so he wasn't too far off. So he won't fault him that much.
One
There you go.
question that might be like really stupid off the bat. The Cup Series. When I hear that, I think cars. Is it like the Piston Cup type of thing? Like obviously the name would be different. But like if you win so many races later, do you win like a trophy at the end? Is that what it is? Sorry.
Yes.
I'm already
It's
stupid.
like the Kentucky Derby of cars. Or not the
Yeah.
Kentucky Derby, like the Triple Crown, right?
Kinda, yeah. I know it's an accumulation of a bunch of races and the points add up.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
The Cup Series runs 36 races in a year. Xfinity Series runs 33, and the Truck Series runs probably 21, I think, or so. And we run from the middle of February all the way to the beginning of November. And yes, as you said, you accumulate points, and then the last last 10 races for the Cup Series, 9 for the Xfinity Series, and like 7 for the Truck Series. Then you go into a playoff system. They start with like 16 cars, 12 and 8 or something like that, and then they go down every 3 weeks till you get to the last race. The very last race, there's 4 cars that are available to win the championship. Whoever finishes the highest, you don't have to win the race. You just have to beat the other 3 guys, and you'll be the champion.
Okay, so Cars lied to me because in Cars, it was the car that won the race with 3 cars, and that's how they won the trophy.
Well, when the Cars movie starts, they tied for the championship.
Yeah, they all tied.
Yeah,
so they
tied.
have a like a runoff race
for a race off.
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
Troy, we should have told you before this started. Most of our knowledge comes from either the movie Cars or the movie Talladega Nights.
Hey, the movie Cars was awesome. I was fortunate enough to be working at Dale Earnhardt Incorporated when that movie came out, and they gave us tickets to go to the premiere. So we got to see the world premiere.
The world
of that
premiere.
movie. And we did it at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Brad Paisley played a concert there.
Dang.
And they had a little fake race go on that night. It was a big night. It was really cool. It was a lot of fun, and I was really glad I was to be a part of that or get to go to it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm a Disney fan, so I'm very jealous. Very jealous.
Yeah,
that's the only world premiere I've ever been to, but it was pretty cool.
One more than me. So
yeah,
you're
you got all of us beat, I think. Yeah, the other 2 facts I have about Daytona: average pit stops around 13 to 15 seconds, and I don't know if that's average, meaning like they're changing all 4 tires and refilling the car, or if that's just kind of. That's to get over the wall with 4
Takes me
tires
2
and a
minutes to
jack
fill up
and a
my
giant
car at
thing
the gas
full of
station.
oil and have 15 seconds and they're taking off again. I don't think I can do it. I would have fallen over getting over the wall.
Well, again, like I said, it's 6 guys working together. So it's not just one particular person doing it. And, for a long time, they had gotten it down to about 11 seconds at one time.
Gosh.
Wow.
NASCAR stepped in and made everybody start using the same pit gun, and they've regulated some other things to the pit stop, and it slowed it back down actually now to 13 to 15 seconds. So at one time they were almost in the 10-second bracket, which is pretty amazing.
That's as fast as like Usain Bolt.
Yeah, that's crazy fast.
Yes.
And our last little fact I was able to gather, the most championship wins is actually a 3-way tie with 7 between Richard Petty, who now owns several cars.
Richard Petty Motorsports, Richard Petty Racing.
Yeah. The elder Dale Earnhardt, who sadly this is the 20th anniversary of his death this week with Daytona, and Jimmy Johnson.
Yes, sir.
So, John, those would be the Tom Brady's of.
Those would be the Tom Brady's.
Yes, with 7 too.
Would those be the Tom
absolutely.
Brady's, or would that be like? Okay, sorry, I'm gonna get into football. I was gonna say the Joe Montanas and the Troy Aikmans and the Tom Brady all in a category. One's still got to be the best, but it's for different generations, like the LeBron versus MJ just debate.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Jimmy Johnson did it. Jimmy Johnson did it in 3 or 4 different types of cars. In other words, they've changed the bodies of the cars and the chassis of the cars. And, Petty did it when the cars were still relatively stock, all the way up to the changing into purpose-built race cars. And, Earnhardt, he was just bad to the bone. So he did it in the eras of radial tires when the tires were not near as good as they are today. And so each person did it a little different way. And it's all 3 very amazing to win 7 championships.
That's why I do like NASCAR, because it's always evolving, because new cars are coming out every year, I'm sure, different ways to do things. And there's not much evolution in baseball or football. I mean, they're not coming out with new footballs.
Tom Brady does.
Yeah.
Unless you're Tom Brady.
Yeah. All right. So I know I have some questions. We'll kind of go around and everyone get some of their questions off. I'll start us off strong with a pretty odd question. What happens when a driver has to use the bathroom in the car in the middle of the race? Is it like you kind of like there's because I'm guessing there's no stopping,
just
so
hold
it
it?
just kind of go?
Okay. So generally, you're not going to have to go pee because you sweat out so much.
I was just about to say you get really dehydrated.
Huh.
Right. Drivers lose between 5 and 10 pounds of body weight after a 500-mile race because you got to think that car's 140 degrees inside.
Yeah, you're essentially
And
dealing with a metal box with an engine running in it for 3 hours.
Right.
No air conditioning in the cars.
Yeah, no airflow.
Well,
And a
they do
fireproof
have-
suit.
They do have an air conditioning system. It runs into a hose in the top of the helmet to keep their head cool. But it only, air conditioners only work to cool like 20 degrees cooler than what outside air is.
Mm.
So the air that's coming in that car is 100 degrees, so it's only cooling it down to 80. But when you're in a 140-degree car, 80 degrees feels like 60,
Nice.
So, but that cools their head, but it doesn't really do much for their body. But as far as the restroom thing, generally they're so dehydrated they don't have that issue. And then the other issue, you got to do what you got to do sometimes. So
Oh no.
there has been instances. Tony Stewart at Watkins Glen, he won the race, and just so happened he was in the Home Depot car and had a white fire suit on.
And there's some skid marks on the track and on the suit.
Before he could get out of the car, somebody had to bring him a sweatshirt or something to tie around his waist because he had an issue in the car. And so it has happened. It's not.
So there, no drivers pulling a Lamar Jackson and exiting the race for a quarter.
Getting cramps and having to stop for a minute.
No one's pulling the Paul Pierce.
No, we don't have
having
that
the pit
issue.
crew carry him off.
All right.
I would say I have a question, but my question is a little bit more racing than asking about the bathroom.
It's a question. I had to know.
No, I just wanted to know, like, when you were talking earlier, you kept mentioning the truck and then the
Xfinity.
Yeah.
And then the last grouping, NASCAR. I don't remember. But like, what is the difference? Obviously, a truck is different. I've got that part. But like, what's the difference between each level, and which level do you work at?
I work in the Xfinity level, which you would consider, I guess, the middle level. The top level is the Cup Series. That's where all the drivers try to make it to Cup Series because that's where the money and the fame is. Their cars are still steel-bodied cars, so you can go up and stick a magnet to the majority of the part of the car of that, which means there's a lot of metal fabrication, a lot of human interaction with the body. They twist them and tweak them to try to make them the most aerodynamic that they can. And there's a lot of finesse that can be done with those. Our cars are what they call a flange fit car. It's kind of a carbon Kevlar type body. We call them plastic cars, but they bolt together, and you're not allowed to do anything to tweak and twist. We still have gray area that we do the best we can with, but for the most part, you're limited to what you can do with that. Our engines have a little less horsepower than the Cup Series. Cup Series runs fuel injection. We run carburetors. So there is quite a bit of difference between the Cup Series and Xfinity Series. But and then obviously, like you said, the Truck Series is very different.
Different, yeah.
If we had a picture of all three cars sitting side by side, or all three vehicles sitting side by side right now, you would be able to tell the difference between a Cup car, Xfinity car, and a.
Maybe Andrew can edit that in later.
Yeah, I'll edit that in. I'll show a picture of the three of them.
Okay.
Follow-up question then. Is it similar to like a farm system with baseball? Like each driving company has a driver at each level, and then if their Cup Series driver retires, they can move somebody up, or if their Cup Series driver is crappy, they can move someone down?
It used to be back in the mid 90s when the Cup Series started. They did kind of do that. The big companies would be in all three series, and like you said, they move people up or down or whatever. Nowadays, with the economy the way it got in the mid 2000s, we have a large amount of people that rent rides, buy rides, stuff like that. We still have a lot of sponsors, which is good, but we have a lot of young children with a lot of talent coming in, and luckily they've got somebody with money behind them and pushing them into it. So it's not as much that anymore, but before you just go jump in a cup car, you either spend some time in trucks or Xfinities. So yes, it still is a farm system a little bit.
All right. Then my question, I guess, so with all these Teslas and then this new GM electric cars, do you think electric cars going to be a big part of racing in the future, or you think they're going to have a separate series for them, or are they just you're going to see Fords racing next to Teslas?
I don't think you'll see that. I really don't. I don't think you'll see a combustion engine racing against a battery car. Battery cars, the way they're getting them nowadays, it's just unbelievable the amount of torque that they have, and I mean it's crazy. IndyCar actually has an E series, and they actually race on their own. It's the E series. And when it first started, the first time I watched one, I didn't know what the heck was going on because I just stumbled across it. And the guy, one of the guys halfway through the race comes flying down the pits, jumps out of his car, runs over to another car, jumps in it, and then sits on pit row until he gets a green light and takes off. Because the battery wasn't good enough for him to run a whole race on. They had to have two cars. Well, here we are 5-6 years later. I've watched some recently, and now they've got the batteries good enough that they can run the whole race on one battery, one car. And they even have built-in boost zones where if they run over a certain part of the racetrack, it's almost like Mario Kart. They run over a certain part of the racetrack and it lets more power
All right.
the car.
I love Mario
crazy.
Kart.
So do you think that's where the future of racing lies then, electric cars? And
I hope not. Cars obviously are green, but to manufacture the batteries for electric cars is not green. So I kind of like the combustion, but you know, I'm flexible. Whatever happens, hopefully I get to keep working on them.
And then my other question, not so serious, is racing something you really have to lock into, or can these drivers plug in the aux cord while they're racing and listen to music or something?
No, you don't listen to music while you're doing this because you have a spotter. You know, you're out there on the racetrack with 40 other cars, and so you've got a guy standing up on top of a building that's into your radio, and he is telling you what's going on the racetrack. So, you know, if you're in the middle of 5 cars, you know, he's telling you, you know, you're you know, 3 wide, you're the bottom, 3 wide, you're the middle. He's outside, inside, whatever, you know. So you have to be full concentration on what you're doing and be able to listen to him. And then you have to be able to talk to your crew and tell them, hey, the car's loose, the car's tight, you know. So
all right.
So no listening to music while you're racing.
I'll say they're going hundreds of miles per hour. I don't know if they have any room for air.
Sometimes you need a soundtrack to your drive, in it. But
Brady,
makes everything better. But
hold on. Okay.
All right. Sorry, Troy.
Oh, I was just to say, music makes everything better, but you know, sometimes you just got to lock it out and concentrate.
Yeah, you kind of got to be laser focused on it.
Okay, question music-wise then, like, because I know beforehand they do qualifying laps to see where they start, like based on how fast they do the lap beforehand on their own. Could they like blast music over the whole system at that point in the whole stadium? Because, you know, at that point it's just you on the track and you're just racing time. Like, at least aren't 50,000 cars around you. That would be pretty cool.
Generally, the PA system at the track does have some sort of music going on if the announcers isn't talking. You will not hear that in a car, though. We do not run mufflers. We have straight exhaust, and even if you're the only car out there on the track, it's still loud enough that you're not going to hear anything.
All right, so I got another question. I had heard from another source we have, that sometimes college players that don't like or NCAA like college football players that don't make it to the NFL sometimes join pit crews. Is there any position that they take specifically, or is it just kind of any position in the pit crew?
Any position. We have a large amount of ex-football players, basketball players, whatever. I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember, but a few years ago, a little college named Appalachian State beat Michigan.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
How could we forget?
Okay, well, the starting quarterback from that team and the starting running back from that team currently work on NASCAR pit crews.
Huh. Yeah,
Matter of fact,
like I don't know if it was super common or if it was not, it was kind of infrequent, or if you only saw kind of offensive, defensive linemen doing it.
Just anybody with natural talent and ability. You know, a pit stop is a choreographed deal. You know what I mean? It's not different every time you come down. It's pretty much the same thing. Every time you come down pit road, you're going to get 4 tires and gas. Now there might be a wedge adjustment in the back glass that changes things a little bit, but for the most part, you're getting 4 tires and gas. So anybody with natural talent can be taught to do pit stops.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something I had wondered about. Like, I thought it might be more towards those linemen because it's their job in any game is almost repetition. Every time ball snapped at, same as car pulling in, you're going to move this way in this certain way. And they have to have quick footwork and they do have to have strength. And I was like, that seems like a perfect fit once I thought about it, to be moving tires, moving jacks in a super quick manner.
Right.
And I know that they told me the jacks, like you basically got one pump down and you're starting up here and you have to get it essentially like parallel to the ground and get the car all the way up in one push.
Yes, sir. And the tires weigh about 80 to 100 pounds a piece. So, you know, you got to be pretty stout to carry 2 tires while you're jumping off a wall and running. Yeah. And that's what our front tire carrier has to do. He has to carry 2 tires over and set one of them down because the jack man pumps the jacks the car up, and then he jumps over and hangs the rear tire while the front tire carrier is doing the front one. So, you know, they do multiple jobs as well, not just the jack man's not just a jack man, you know, so.
I didn't know that.
It's quite impressive.
Yeah, the athleticism of it all is really like, once you actually look into it, it's very on display. The fact that somebody can lose 5 to 10 like pounds in a race and they're totally fine. The way that these racers have to keep their body in top shape, because to be able to turn your wheel while you're going that fast also is a lot of muscle.
Yeah, the G-force just acting on your body.
Yeah, so it's wild the number of people who are like, oh, it's not a sport. Like, you've never tried it and you've never actually looked into it if you think it's not a sport, because you have to be athletic, you have to be strong.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Even your
Brady,
local Saturday night guy.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Even your local Saturday night guy at the dirt track or at an asphalt track, whatever. I mean, you're out there, maybe not for hours, you're out there for 20 minutes or whatever, but you know, your heart's racing and you're focusing and locked in on stuff, and it's very strenuous. And you know, football players are extreme athletes, baseball players, basketball, they're all extreme athletes and everything, but a lot of their stuff happens in 10 seconds. You know, they get ready to do a play and it takes 10 seconds or whatever for that play to happen. But when you're driving a race car, you know, you have to be fully focused for the entire time you're driving that race car. You can't take a break.
Yep.
There are no timeouts.
I was gonna say, it's not like you're an offensive lineman and every time your defense is out there, you can breathe on the sideline. Like, you are locked in for hours.
Yep.
All right, Brady, I don't know if you had any questions.
Do you know who Chase Elliott is?
Do I know him? I don't.
Yeah.
I don't personally know him. No, sir.
Okay.
I have been around him when he was in the Xfinity series. We were pitted beside each other, and you know, would say hey in passing and stuff like that. But as far as being like a buddy or something, no, I don't. I'm friends with a couple of the drivers, but not a lot of them.
Okay.
like I know Bubba Wallace pretty good. Obviously my drivers, Ross Chastain last year, Justin Haley, Jeb Burton, and AJ Allmendinger. I know those guys pretty well because they're in our shop a lot. I worked on Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car for 2 years, but I was a shop guy. I didn't go on the road. So if I walked up to Dale Jr. right now, he probably wouldn't know who I was. So, but I put engines in his car for 2.5 years. So
yeah, you just kind of introduce yourself. Hey, I'm the guy that gave you a job for 2.5 years.
Right.
All right. So I got a trivia question. I want to see if our crew can get it right. I assume that you might be able to decipher out the right answer here.
Let's see.
I have
trivia.
I have 4 fake sponsors that have all appeared in movies of NASCAR cars and 1 real one. I would like you guys to try and figure out which one is the real one.
Not Rusty's, because that's from Cars.
Rusty's is from Cars.
We have City Chevrolet, Laughing Clown Malt Liquor, Torkel's Chicken Pit, 4-Star Whiskey, and Bordeaux's Butt Paste.
Butt paste.
All right, Brady's go with Butt Paste. John?
I feel like you got to tell me them again. I already forget.
Yeah.
All right, so we got City Chevrolet, Laughing Clown Malt Liquor, Torkel's Chicken Pit, 4-Star Whiskey, and Bordeaux's Butt Paste.
I'm going with the Chicken Pit.
I'm going Chicken Pit too.
All right, Brady was the one that was correct.
Bordeaux's Butt Paste.
It just sounds like something that'd be real.
It was 2004, driven by Kevin Ray and Kim Crosby.
I just knew it
Bordeaux.
wasn't.
See, I thought that was too off the wall.
Yeah.
I went for the second most ridiculous one.
City Chevrolet was Cole Trickle in Days of Thunder. Laughing Clown Malt Liquor was in Talladega Nights.
Talladega Nights. Yep.
Torkel's Chicken Pit was in the movie Stroker Ace with Burt Reynolds.
Okay.
And 4-Star Whiskey was Aubrey James and Stroker Ace. My dad did text me Dynaco, and I was like, I think they'll know that's the fake. They'll know that one's fake.
Dynaco. I know that one too.
Boudreaux's Butt Paste was a lot of fun.
Yeah, there's also other ones that we saw. Depends and Viagra were 2 other ones I saw that I was like, I think that they'll know those might be real.
Underalls, that was one real one too back in the 70s.
Yeah, the Viagra one I saw, and I was like, oh, okay, like the joke's there, and I kind of want to make it, but nah.
Oh, there was plenty of jokes made when it was around.
So I got one more thing, and this will be kind of for everyone. If you guys, people viewing, want to put it in the comments. If you could be sponsored by any company, who would it be? I'm assuming if you're the driver, you kind of get free stuff from the company, or at least win or lose, or maybe in your house or something. There's some deal given. Who would you go with? For me personally, I'm going with Arizona Tea. I know it's 99 cents a can, and it's not really expensive, but I really like Arizona Tea. It lends itself to a cool looking car, and I'm constantly drinking tea, so I was like, it's a perfect fit.
Okay.
That's fair.
Okay, well,
No,
you go ahead.
All right, I would definitely go something along the lines of fast food. The amount of money I spend, probably Chick-fil-A. That's a little more pricier. If I could get free Chick-fil-A.
That's a pretty good one.
Does it have to be an actual sponsored car, or can I just name one?
Are you going to sponsor your own car?
Can I name a company that I would want to get free stuff from, but they're not actually sponsoring the car?
Yeah, that's what he meant. Any company at all that you can think of, not one that's actually currently in the sport. One that's in the sport.
I'm gonna go Nike.
Nike.
That's a good one.
That's a pretty solid one.
I'm gonna go with Target because I feel like I could get anything from Target. I can get furniture, I can get groceries, and I spend so much money on their, clothes and their hair stuff. So Target all day, every day.
Put your bullseye on yourself. You might be a target for the other drivers.
Yeah. Yeah, you are putting a big target on your car for the entire race.
So I'll bring back the Target dog.
Sponsor.
Yeah. Oh, there we go.
Target did sponsor race cars for a long time.
Yeah, I was like, I think
real.
Target did have one. I think Nike might be one of the minor sponsors on the Michael Jordan car that we're going to see tomorrow.
They are.
All right, Troy, so who are you going with if you have anybody sponsor your car?
Me? Well, now that I'm older, I'm more of a cruise fanatic. I like to go on cruises. So I would say, Carnival Cruise Line or something like that, so I can get free vacation.
All right.
That's
yeah.
a pretty smart. I think
That's
I
a
might have
good
given the worst answer. I'm picking 99-cent tea. I'm picking something that costs under $1. I just want for free.
I'm
Pick the
stuff that I
Hilton
can actually
car
wear.
and travel the world.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, there's
So
plenty.
to the guy, to the young man there that said Chick-fil-A, when we win a race, which fortunately College Racing won 5 races last year as a team.
All right.
So every time you win a race, Xfinity, the sponsor of the series, buys you breakfast the following Monday. And it's always Chick-fil-A. So generally when we win a race, we get free Chick-fil-A. So.
Wait,
That
their
makes me feel-
breakfast though?
All I got to do is win
Breakfast
races.
is
I didn't
like-
even need to be sponsored by them.
Yeah, exactly.
When it didn't even matter. All right.
When you win, things are definitely a lot better.
All right. So
I'm sure for that, every sport, yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. So we only got one more thing planned, and it's picking the winner of Daytona. As you figured out from the past probably 30 minutes, we know nothing. I was told to pick somebody that pulled in the top 10 whenever I made my pick. That's all I knew. But I'm going to go with Bubba Wallace. He's the driver for the Michael Jordan car. He's repping 23. Jordan's in his corner. He's got to win at least his first one, maybe. And I've heard he's an overall good racer. So I'm going to go with Bubba Wallace in the number 23 Jordan car.
23,
All right.
hard to pick against Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
All right.
Am I
Erin?
next? Oh God.
Yeah.
Okay. So listen, I don't know any other drivers other than Bubba Wallace.
Guess you're going with
Danica
Bubba Wallace
Patrick's
then.
not in it, so that's all I got. Yeah. Jeff Gordon coming back out of
Nah,
retirement?
he's retired.
No?
He's
Okay,
retired.
well, then Bubba Wallace. That's who I'm gonna go with.
All right. John.
Before the show, I looked up the odds, and I think Denny Hamlin has the best odds. He's 17-2, it says. So I'm not going to argue with Vegas on something I don't know much about.
He's won the
All right.
last 2.
See? Perfect.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go with the Cup Series champion Chase Elliott.
All right.
It's not a bad one. I'm going to have to go. If I don't say this name, then I'm not going to be allowed back to work on Monday. So I got to say Kaz Grala because he's driving our car. So
Yeah, we all picked up against.
Listen, can I change mine? Because
Is this the first time we didn't suck up to our guest?
Yeah, I think it is. It's maybe the first time we didn't try and kiss our guest's ass.
I didn't know his name. I'll change my vote. I'll change it.
So we got Derek Cope at 2,000-1 odds. That's
The least likely?
Yeah, least likely.
I'm rooting for you, Derek.
Derek Cope won it in 1991. He won the 500.
1991.
So he's a seasoned vet. He has
Yeah.
experience under his belt.
He's
a
2,000-1.
Seasoned vet.
We got Josh Bilicki, Joey Gase, Quinn Huff, Cody Ware, and BJ McLeod at 1,000-1 odds. The next person, Kaz Grala at 250-1. So there's a jump there.
A little bit.
And
Yeah,
I
had to look
might have
up.
butchered some of those names, but
I had to look up
That's
some
all.
of the
He
people. And I
did
was
pretty
like,
good.
actually, real quick, I'm gonna say my backup winner. So Erin can possibly keep her Bubba Wallace. I'm gonna say Ricky Stenhouse Jr., one of my dad's close friends, and the guy that I've always referred to as my uncle is the crew chief, or he's in the shop like how you are, Troy, for Ricky. So I'm gonna take him. I'll change my answer. I'm gonna go with Ricky Stenhouse. Just one. I'm gonna go with that.
All right, my
Funny-
second answer is gonna be the guy that drives the M&M car. I don't know, Kyle Busch or
I
whatever.
thought it
his
was
name
cursed
is.
to drive the M&M car, from what I've heard.
No,
Oh,
Kyle's
Kyle.
done pretty good in it.
All right.
There's a Wonder Bread car, right?
No, not anymore. Just
Not
for
anymore.
one more.
That's just the
See,
movie.
I thought that one was pretty. So
All right. That's all we have for our show. Remember, leave a like, comment who you think might win the Daytona 500, who you might have as your sponsor for it. Troy, we really loved having you on. A lot of laughs.
Love
maybe we'll
learning.
have you on at some point later this year, maybe with the Indy 500. We'd love to have you on again. I can already tell you that. That's all we have for you this week.
All right.
But yeah, thank you everyone that tuned in. Thank you, Troy, for coming on. That is all we got.